Yo, what's going on, people? We are in. So basically, I wasn't going to make it home in time if I cycled it, so I thought I'm going to just do the Q&A Insta Live out here. We're in the city of London. Nice and sunny day. So I'll give it a minute or two for people to join, and then I'll start taking questions. If people send through live requests and they want to chat with me, more than happy to do that. But yeah, you know what? Feel free to just start sending in questions now. Disclaimer, I might put this live on YouTube, so if you do submit a question or if you do talk to me live, just be wary of that. But yeah, let me see what questions are coming through. Also, thank you for taking the time today to join us. I appreciate your time, and I'll try my best to help you. All right, let's see. Also, can you give a thumbs up if you can hear me clearly, because I'm conscious there's wind in the background. Great. All right, first question from Stefano Pau. Hi Afzal, quick question. During your time in asset management, did you use any programming software? Would you suggest learning any programming software? Personally, I didn't use any programming software, neither did any of the analysts. The most technical software that was used was probably Excel and using VBA and learning how to do macros and all of that. As a sales analyst, I didn't need to do any of that. So no, I didn't in asset management, and I would recommend it if you're considering alternative options, such as if you're going to join a startup or a different industry. But for finance, you don't really need to know programming software, unless maybe if you're in technology, that could be useful for you. I'm starting my master's at Imperial in September in finance. Congrats. What's the best way to get into investment banking? It's a number of things, and I always say this, it's literally making sure you network, making sure you meet people, making sure you're going for coffees and catch-ups, making sure you have a lot of relevant experience, a lot of extracurricular activities. But look, end of the day, when you apply to any role, you're going to be applying with a CV and a cover letter. And if you don't have a strong application, you're not going to make it to the interview or the online interview. And so it's important to focus on the small things. A lot of people just focus on what degree do I need to do, and is that going to be enough? The truth is, no. It's a large number of things that play into you getting an offer. So yeah, it's not just one thing. Focus on getting everything right at each step of the application process. Are there any tips for people who haven't secured an internship this summer? Yeah, look, I would say try and do some sort of work experience, regardless of whether it's relevant or irrelevant. If you can get something, you need your CV to show that you did something over the summer. You don't want it to be blank. Even if it means volunteering or starting your own project, in the end, you are going to be competing with people in the interview process and the application process who have things on their CV, and so you want to be able to have something to talk about instead of having nothing to talk about on your CV or when it comes to interviews. Are you hearing about job cuts in the city in commercial banking? Look, right now there's a lot of hiring freezes, so that's going to impact graduate recruitment. So that means people that are graduating this year, it's going to be a tough job market. It's going to impact internships, it's going to impact spring weeks, all of that. The conversion rate is going to be lower than expected. However, you know, there are so many different industries to consider. Don't just focus on banking. It's this time right now, we've never experienced this in our lives. And so if you think about financial crisis in 2008, there were hundreds of thousands of jobs, people getting laid off, right? Even, not just graduates and interns, senior professionals. And so right now we're going through a pandemic. The recruitment landscape is turned on its head. Obviously in probably 6 months, 12 months, 18 months, things will get better, but you need to focus on, what's the best thing for you to do now. And my advice to you would be, if you're graduating and you don't get a banking offer, look at your alternative options, try and get something, because when it comes to applying to banking later on, which you will be able to do, you want to show them that, you used your time in an effective way, whether it means working for a smaller finance company or a boutique firm. All of that will be useful in order to get to a bigger bank if that's what you're interested in. Assalamu alaikum, sending positive vibes your way from India. Ramadan Mubarak to you too, man. Thank you. I hope everyone's fasting is going well for those of you that are fasting. Let's see what other questions. Is asset management harder to break into than investment banking at graduate level? Honestly, look, technically, I would say investment banking is hard. It's probably the hardest division to get into out of all the front office. Investment banking division and trading, depending on the role. However, and that's partly because there's just a lot of competition. However, look, with anything, if you are at a high level of understanding in any topic, or for example, sport, if you're very good at sport, compare that with someone who doesn't practice that sport, you're going to be performing at a higher level, right? And so similarly, if you know your stuff when it comes to asset management compared to investment banking division, you're going to find it easier to get into asset management, and vice versa. If you are studying a course that focuses on mergers and acquisitions and corporate finance, you're going to find it easier to break into investment banking division compared to asset management. So I would say, it's all relative. The key is to find out why you want to go into a specific division, what, makes you interested in that area, and then do you have the right skills to go into a specific role within that area? Once you know those answers to those questions for you personally, then you'll be able to dig deeper and double down on the specific requirements for each division or role. And so that will allow you to perform better in interviews and assessment centers. Like me, in my first year, I did a work experience at BlackRock, and it was there that I realized that I wanted to do asset management. And then I just focused strictly on asset management and private banking, actually. And then, I didn't focus on trading or investment banking. And then I naturally got better at asset management, so I was able to focus on interviews and assessment centers accordingly, rather than having 10 different focuses. I'm planning for a master's in media informatics from RWTH, Aachen, Germany. Is it a good uni, and what are your thoughts? I can't say I've heard of it. That doesn't mean it's not a good university. Look, honestly, I went to Queen Mary University of London. It's an average uni. It's not the best university in the world, but my strategy was to focus on getting as much experience as possible, because at the end of the day, your university degree will take around 2 or 3 lines on your resume or your CV, and the rest of it focuses on what else you do at uni and outside of uni. So don't focus too much on university. Hi, would you describe... Sorry, I'll let this bus go. Would you describe also... Quarantine, self-isolation, excuse the haircut. Well, I need a haircut. Excuse the beard and the hair. I look like a complete mess. Hi, how would you describe the quality of life as an investment banking analyst living in central London? So one thing to be clear, I wasn't an investment banking analyst. I was in asset management, but we can't, front office, a lot of the analysts, their lives are similar, except obviously the investment banking division analysts, they work 16 to 20 hours every single day. A lot of the analysts that were doing investment banking, they were living very close to the office. So when you're in central London, that means extremely high rents. So, a chunk of their salaries were going on that. And then most of the time, they didn't really have much of a weekend. If they did have a weekend, they didn't really, they couldn't plan ahead too much, because you might get a last minute email or piece of work that you need to run into the office and do. Me personally, I lived at home. Home was about a 24-minute commute door to door from home to the bank, 24 minutes. And so, I grew up in London. I've been in London my whole life, and so around home was all my friends, everyone I needed. And so life for me personally, I had a good work-life balance. Sometimes it's longer hours and it's busier, but the good thing about in general, when you're in the city, when you're working for, when you're not doing a 9 to 5 and you're in a long hour job, usually the work there, it's not mundane. It's not like you're watching the clock for it to tick and tock and get to the time where you can leave. You're pretty engaged, and you're doing work that kind of intellectually stimulates you. And so if you enjoy it, it's great. But oftentimes, you can only do certain things for so long until you need to move on. What do you think of business analyst finance job? That is a very vague question. So I'm not sure how to answer it. What I would say is, one tip actually, if you can Google something and find the answer there pretty easily, I would encourage doing that before, especially if you're reaching out to people and networking, because oftentimes a lot of the answers, that's the way I learned, a lot of the answers were on Google, and then anything that I wanted to dig deeper into, I would ask a professional or someone in the industry. So sorry, I can't help you there. Do you think, lots of questions, so thank you. Do you think top firms will carry on hiring in this climate, or do you think it will be tougher for graduates? I've answered that question. Short answer is, it's a tougher climate, so it's going to be harder. There will always be jobs, but you should diversify your applications. What is the difference between financial analyst and associates? So the term analyst and associate can be quite confusing. So firstly, because when you talk about the banks, an analyst is a junior person who joins, and you can be an analyst for 2, 3, 4 years, right? And then you become an associate. But when you're talking about consulting firms like PwC, EY, KPMG, etc., when you join those organizations, you start as an associate, and then after a few years, you become a senior associate or a manager or what have you. Also, in finance, when you have let's say there's a sector specialist, let's say someone is working in asset management who specifically focuses on equities, and they've been in the industry for 5, 10, 15 years. They could be an analyst, but their analyst is something different. They're an analyst in a specific sector, but they might be at a VP level or an associate level. So it can be quite confusing. But typically for the banks, it goes analyst, associate, executive director, or vice president, director, managing director. One second. Do you recommend going into private equity fund accounting? Honestly, another vague question. I would say if that's what you're interested in, definitely consider it. I would say talk to people in those roles so you get a better idea. I have never done private equity fund accounting, so I'm not too sure exactly what the ins and outs of that is. But if you oh shit, my bike almost fell over. If you want to find out more about that, I might have to do another video, do some research on it, and then post a video on that. Hey bro, love from Atlanta. Wow, people from America and all sorts. That's amazing. Hey, thank you for joining. Can you give us some insight into background checks for SA NFT? For summer analysts and full-time roles, for those of you that don't know what SA NFT are. So background checks are very important. Do not lie on your applications. When you apply for a summer internship and a grad scheme, if you get through the interview process and all of that, before they give you a full-time offer or a summer internship offer, they usually do a background check on you. So they hire a different organization, because the banks don't have time to do it. They hire an external organization who specializes in background checks, and they will check that everything you said on your CV, your grades, your transcripts, all of that is legit. So yeah, don't fake it. Don't outright lie. So be conscious. However, a lot of students ask me, if I got extremely bad grades, what should I do? You can leave them out, but that's risky because it might mean an immediate rejection. On the flip side, you can include them, and then include some of your extenuating circumstances, any reasons why your grades might be that bad, and then hopefully you can back it up with a lot of experience and good extracurricular activities. Would it be a disadvantage if I do my MBA after a master's in computer science? My plan is to save money after master's and finance my MBA. I don't know why it would be a disadvantage. Look, a lot of people join the industry, they spend 3, 4, 5, 6 years, and then they go and do an MBA, and then they join back if you know, after they complete their MBA. Sometimes your MBA can get you a senior position. You know, if you've got an MBA, you won't be joining as an analyst or a early associate. You'll be joining at like a senior associate or a VP level. But then the question is, if you're in the world of banking, do you want to leave to do an MBA? Some people do, some people don't. That's a personal question, so you have to decide that for yourself. How can I ask you questions via email? If you go to www.afsalhussein.com, there you can see everything I'm working on, and there should be a button to send me an email. However, all career-related emails, I tend to have them sent to the CV Doctor website. And then oftentimes I get a lot of emails from students and young people that are extremely long, which is fine. But oftentimes, basically, in order for me to help you, I want to give you a very good answer. And so if I've got lots of messages in my inbox, I can't give a very good answer to everyone. And so that's why one thing I'm doing is these live videos, because it allows me, one, to help you answer your question, and two, hopefully other people viewing this will benefit from that. So you can kind of hit multiple birds with one stone. Can you save this so we can watch it back? Yes, of course. I'll download this and I'll upload it on YouTube at some point this week, maybe, or maybe next week. Hi, Afzal. Can I transition from back office to middle office? Currently have a grad offer for data and analytics. How do I make the transition to front office? I've done a video on that, so check the YouTube channel, and it tells you everything you need to know about moving from back office to front office. Long story short, you need to do a few years and make sure every year you get reviewed. You need to make sure you're a top quartile analyst. So when it comes to moving to the front office, they know that you are performing at the top of your game. And so that will help your case. There's no point applying to a front office role if you're not performing well in your back office role. And also it helps if you are in operations, because operations work with a lot of the front office divisions. Whereas if you're in finance, or so back office finance, or if you're in technology, they don't really have much work or relation to corporate finance or asset management or sales and trading, and so it will be harder to move into the front office that way. How do you prep for final rounds? How do you prep for final rounds? Just as you would for the first round. Take every round, it's very important, treat every single round, even a phone interview, like it's your final round. Like if you perform well in that, you're getting an offer. Treat it like that, and then it becomes a breeze. Will you accept my live request? I will accept requests in a second. I'm just trying to get through all of these questions. They keep coming, so I'm not sure if I'm going to be able to accept the live. Let me just see how many there are. 1 second. Holy crap. All right. Oh my god. I'm just swiping. Oh shit. All right. Currently, I'm not sure how many I've answered, but there's about another 40 questions. Now, 40 questions, I could be here for a good few hours. So, if I don't answer your question, what time is it? Wow, time flies. 5:20 already. Let me walk about. If I don't answer your question today, don't worry. I will be on next Sunday. But keep an eye out on the Instagram, because I will post an update, whether it's 5 p.m. or earlier, or in the week, or on Saturday. I'll let you know. So yeah, if I don't answer your question, sorry. Everyone says surround yourself, and also the way I'm answering these questions is on a first basis. So the questions that got sent in first, I'm answering those. Everyone says surround yourself with good people better than you, but how do you do that? That's a good question. I don't know, naturally, if you're a good person and if you're quite bright, you're naturally going to associate yourself or relate to similar individuals. And so if you have high standards when you go to a networking environment, or when you go to school or university or work, there will be some people that relate to you and vice versa, and naturally it expands like that. Alternatively, you can go to, there's a lot of like meetups through Facebook groups, LinkedIn groups. There's like LinkedIn Local, check that out. You can meet people in your city and just converse with them, and then if you click with individuals, then naturally you end up being around people similar to you. So I would say just be extroverted, be open, go out there, try and meet lots of people who are like you. That's a good question. It's a tough question. Next question. Are there any roles in McKinsey, Bain, BCG, and investment banks after a master's in computer science? So a lot of students are doing computer science degrees and they want to go into investment banking. I would like to know why. If you're doing computer science degree, usually if you're doing anything tech focused, the option for investment banks is to go into their technology divisions. However, I would say to you, it's easier to go and work for a tech company like a Google or a Facebook or a startup and then move into an investment bank as opposed to doing it the other way. So, yeah. Focus on that rather than narrowing yourself down to an investment bank. Did you invest in Bitcoin? I didn't invest in Bitcoin. I remember when it caught my eye, it was on about just under $1,000. The whole office was going mad, and then in a month or a few weeks, it went to 20k, and it's like, wow, it's crazy. But at the time, I didn't take advantage of that. I wish I did, but you win some, you lose some. Hey Afzal, what do you think is best to do this summer if traditional internships no longer take place? Answered this question before. Try and get some sort of experience, voluntary, relevant, irrelevant, whatever it is, try and get something on your CV. If I can't get into economics for uni, what courses can I look into to proceed with Forex trading, but in the larger scale? You doing trading should not be dictated by what you study at university. So you should, there are people who study music and they are trading Forex. Now, I hope you're not one of those Forex scammers, because there are too many of them out there. So whatever you study at uni, that's irrelevant. You should be, if you're interested and passionate about something, you should be dedicating your hours after work or school or uni studying and your weekends to mastering your craft and becoming a better trader. So don't let uni dictate that. I'm a final year finance student. Do you think it's best I do my honors, or should I consider graduate programs and study part-time? I'm a final year student. Do you think it's best I do my honors, or should I consider graduate programs and study part-time? Honestly, I don't know the full picture around your scenario or situation, and so I wouldn't be able to advise you on what to do. So that's a tricky one. Yeah, sorry. How important is having a mentor, and how can I get someone to be my mentor? Mentors are very important. See mentors as someone who is a few years ahead of you, and they are giving you a cheat sheet to avoid all the failures and downfalls and mistakes in order to succeed in your career or a certain part of your life. So mentors are very important. How do you go about getting them? Once again, you want to put yourself out there. You want people to know who you are. You want to go to different society events. You want to go to networking events. And naturally, when you increase your interaction with individuals, both, similar age and experience as you, and junior and more experience, you will naturally uncover these mentor-mentee relationships. So it's all about putting yourself out there. It's like a lot of people, they want all these things, but they're just going to stay home, or they're not going to go out to all these insight day events or these networking events or these meetups and all of that. If you stay at home, honestly, turning up is like most of the work. All you've got to do is turn up. I, for example, consistently throughout uni and after graduating, I just made sure I was putting myself out there, turning up to different things. And you see all these random opportunities come up, and it's all about turning up that helps. So try and turn up more. What do you think of business? Oh, you asked that one. Sorry. Hi. Hi, Afzal. I was wondering if it's appropriate to message analysts, associates on LinkedIn that I'll be working with this summer to introduce myself, or does this make me look too eager? It does not make you look too eager. You should most definitely do it. If you don't do it, it might look weird. So definitely reach out to them. You've got the offer. You're going to meet them or virtually meet them. So reach out to them, introduce yourself, tell them you're looking forward to the summer internship, And most importantly, ask them, is there anything that you recommend that I should read up on between now and then? So yeah. Is it possible to move from risk to asset management? Yes, it is. A lot of people do it and they go into like trading roles, because usually when you're doing risk management, you are working closely with the traders. You know what's going on after a trade is executed, or once the portfolios are being balanced, etc. All of that stuff. So it's easier to move into trading from risk than any other area, to be fair. And then operations. Does learning a foreign language have an advantage when applying for banking and finance? German, to be specific. If you're applying to the German office of an asset manager or investment bank, knowing German will help. Knowing a foreign language is always a benefit. It's always good to be able to speak multiple languages. So yes, it will help, but it's not going to guarantee you an offer. For example, like if you know German but you're joining the UK sales team, it's not going to be very useful. If you know German and you're joining the Frankfurt sales team, it will be useful. Happy Ramadan. Likewise, happy Ramadan. I'm a 16-year-old and I trade currencies. Good. And gold now. Would that help when wanting to trade for a bank? Yes, very important. When you're applying to any competitive industry, you are basically selling yourself and why they should hire you. Now, investment banking, asset management, sales and trading, all of this, the whole finance sector is results driven. And so you need to show them on your CV, what results have you achieved? So you trade currencies, great. You trade gold, great. But what are your monthly returns? How much have you returned on your portfolio over the last year? All of these things are very important, because if you show them you are consistently producing good returns, it will impress them. It will make you stand out from the next candidate. Also, even if you're not making good returns, if you're failing, it's important to tell them what you're learning from these and how you've adapted from your mistakes. So keep that in mind. Do you think I have a good chance of getting into sales and trading in 2024 with a history degree from LSE or Cambridge? Once again, degree and university brand, all of that will only get you so far. It doesn't mean you're going to get in. There might be someone at a lower ranking university who's done an internship and who's done lots of mentoring and all of that. So they might stand a better chance than you. The best thing you can do is get the best grades possible. That will help a bit. And yes, brand of uni helps to a certain extent, but it's not going to guarantee you an offer. One sec, what's the time? We've done half an hour. How much knowledge are you expected to know in a specific division you are applying to? The more knowledge you know, the better. But a good basic level understanding of what, if you're applying to sales and trading or asset management, what are asset classes? How do financial markets work? What is asset management? What is sales and trading? If you're going to investment banking, what is a discounted cash flow? Can you pitch me an investment idea? What part of the market would you invest in right now? All of that is good to know at the internship level. At the spring week level, they honestly, they just want to see you are curious and enthusiastic. They don't care too much about your technical knowledge. To have some helps, but it's not the be all and end all. So don't worry about that too much. One thing, honestly, most of the videos on my YouTube channel will get you to a good standard. So that the YouTube channel plus Google searching any specific questions you might have will get you to a good standard for getting a good application and interview ready. Bloody hell, I thought I saw a rat, but it's a squirrel. How much knowledge are you expected? Oh, just answered that. Are investment banks halal? So I get this question a lot. Is it Islamically okay to go into a career in the world of banking and finance? And honestly, I am not a Islamic finance specialist. I do not know the answer myself. So it's a tricky one. I would definitely encourage you to check out online resources, credible online resources, to get some more information on that. it would be good if I could save all of these questions, because I won't be able to answer all of them, and all of them won't pop up when I download it, but we'll see. Okay, next question. I lost which question I was on. Okay, if you want to go into finance but don't know if it's banking, private equity, or a hedge fund, where is the best place to start your career? Go to, if you go to www.officialcvdoctor.com and then you click on free resources, there's a document that I've put on there. It's a PDF and it's done by Deutsche Bank, and it gives you an overview of the different divisions of an investment bank. Compare all of those divisions and then do Google search, do your search on what is private equity, what is a hedge fund. I've done videos on those, so you can check those out as well. And then compare which one, floats your boat, which one you're most interested in, and take it from there. Gonna do shorter answers because I'm trying to get through as many questions as possible. I'll do about a few more minutes. So yeah. Can you learn some of these topics once you join as an analyst in back office? You learn everything on the job. You don't need to know anything in depth before you join. You learn everything on the role, but a basic level understanding will put you up against the analyst or intern that you're competing with, who is also fighting for an offer. Is having a risk internship useful for going into asset management? Yes, it is. We've answered that one, so check it out later. Is an asset management being automated? So some areas of all banks are being automated, and the reason for that is, you can leverage technology to make processes smoother and faster, but that's not the large majority. There are some tech companies, fintech companies, that are doing asset management, where you can, like, I'm sure you've seen it, you can invest your change from when you spend. So if you buy a product for £3.60, they might round up the extra 40p and invest that for you. There are a lot of challenger banks out there using technology, but investment banks still need resource and junior employees and graduates. So yeah. A lot of these questions are repeating, so I'm trying to find unique ones. Best career path to get into a hedge fund? Usually it depends what you want to do in a hedge fund. If you want to be a salesperson or a trader, most people want to be a trader at a hedge fund. Typically, a lot of people that I know go into the trading floor, they do trading for a few years, and then they go and join a small hedge fund. So usually it's trading role and then hedge fund. Is management and technology a suitable course for investment banking? No idea. I'm not sure what modules are in the management and technology course at the university you're studying in, but once again, course is irrelevant to a certain extent. The only time I would say a course would be very, very useful is if you study investment banking, if you study a course like a master's in investment banking or a 3-year bachelor degree in investment banking, then when you go to interviews, you're going to smash it. So, that's when there's a huge benefit. Oh. Degree aside, just above that, big up Regent's Park. Yes, Degree aside, degrees aside, what qualities would you look for in an intern or a graduate? Someone that, I don't like someone that comes in and thinks they know it all. That they think that they deserve to be in that organization, and someone that's arrogant and overconfident. You want someone that is humble, hardworking, and willing to learn. So those are the key traits that I would look for personally. Someone that, when I look at their CV, I can see, okay, this individual is serious about a career in this industry because their CV shows it to me. It shows that they've done lots of work experience or tried to do some sort of experience and extracurricular activities that are relating to this industry. And when I meet them in an interview and we talk, I get the sense that this individual comes from, they have humility and they're very humble. They're not arrogant. They are very hardworking, and they're not a robot, and they're a nice person. You can have a conversation with them. So most of it, honestly, it's human qualities that win at the end of the day. And it goes back to IQ versus EQ. So intelligence quotient, that's how intelligent you are, and EQ, emotional quotient. So anyone can have a high IQ and they can do very good in tests, and they can be very bright. But if you haven't got emotional intelligence, if you don't know how to act around people, if you don't know how to read a situation or a group scenario or a conflict, you're not going to get very far in life and at work. So emotional intelligence is very, very important. Please save this video. I will. Lots of hearts coming through, colorful hearts. That means I'm guessing people like it, so thank you. All right, I'm going to take 2 more. Someone said light up the blunt. I don't smoke. I've actually never smoked, but if you want to light up a blunt, you can do that. So yeah, what are the best software knowledge to have in the finance fintech industry? Someone asked that earlier. It's not really a relevant question, so I can't really help you there. How do you say a lot of How old am I? I am 28. I turned 28 in January. So yeah, it's crazy. Time flies. Thank you, Afsal. Thank you too. Oh. All right. I don't want to prolong it, and my battery's going to die soon. We've done a good 40 minutes. Yes, Mark. Love from East London, bro. Nice to see a lot of people that I actually know on here watching, so thank you for the support. You lot have been supporting me for so long, so thank you. Last question. It's a good question to end on. Sorry if I haven't answered your questions today. I will be back before you know it. Is there low representation of women in investment banking? So there is. The truth is there could be more representation of females in this industry. There could be more representation of females in the industry. There could be more representation of colored people in the industry. There could be more representation of Muslims in the industry. There are a lot of areas that the representation in the industry can be improved. For example, in asset management, women, men, it's probably slightly better than all the other divisions. Investment banking division, definitely more men. Sales and trading, definitely more men. In terms of race, so I've noticed this, and I've noticed it for a long time, and it's funny, no one talks about it. So obviously there are race, like the industry could be doing better in terms of racial diversity, right? But I've noticed there's more racial diversity in the back office than there is in the front office. Now, you can read that how you want, but that's the truth. That's what I've noticed. The front office is very, very more polished than the back. Like, that's what the term is. A lot of research has shown the front office chooses more polished individuals, and the back office tends to be more diverse in terms of race. That's what a lot of research says, and that's what I've seen personally. In terms of women, back to your question, a lot of work needs to be done. But I think women are, there's a lot of attention on increasing the amount of women in the industry and in senior roles. And so that's a good thing. With time, hopefully all of that will get better and improve across the industry and all other industries as well. Okay, let me see how many questions I'm missing out on. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Oh my God, so many. Oh. Well, I honestly didn't expect this many questions. Still swiping. So, my wife's just asked me, Afzal, should I make spiced keema lasagna or normal Italian lasagna? I'm going to be home soon, so please can you make spiced keema lasagna? Thank you. Okay, there's about 40 odd questions that I'm unable to answer. Actually, about 50 odd questions I can't answer. And so I'm sorry I can't answer those. I'll be on at some point in the week or maybe next weekend. But I want to say thank you to everyone here for joining me. Hopefully this has been useful for you. It's a good way to kind of answer your questions directly and in real time. And yeah, thank you for showing the support on the Instagram, on the YouTube. If you aren't already, make sure you check it out, youtube.com/Afzal Hussain. And yeah, I will see you in the next Instagram live. Peace.